Welcome back, everyone. It's DestinysJesus here. In today's video, we're showing 10 of the best tips and tricks for this season if you guys want to get better at comp. These are also really useful fighting tips for arena and stuff like that if you want to get points faster, just get better at W King. But most of these are going to be focused on more comp type stuff, how to be improving with the new shotgun meta and aiming and stuff like that, things for new items, and also a load of stuff for the new augments, which are really important for you guys to master as well. Alright, before we get into this, make sure to like the video, and let's get straight into this with tip number 1 with the new augments. Alright, so our first tip and trick of this video is going to be actually trying to use the rushing reload augment whenever you can, especially if you're playing solo arena and you want to be aggressive in fights. This is so good for creating tempo. You can see here, if I kill this guy, I'm going to go ahead and get an augment, and I choose rushing reload. What this does is basically every 2 seconds of you sprinting, let's say you're sprinting to an opponent's box or something like that, it means you're going to go ahead and actually reload your shotgun. So now you can see, let's say I'm fighting somebody, for example, I just sprint for 2 seconds and my shotgun is automatically reloaded. This is so good as well. You're fighting somebody who's reboxing a lot. It means you don't have to waste time where they can get heals off and you can have to reload while they're getting their heals off. You can just constantly pressure them. Here's an example of me using this perk in-game. I can't tell you guys how good this is. If you play a lot of solo arena, you want to get better at fighting, this is going to help you a lot at just outplaying your opponents through being quicker than them in small things during fights like reloading and obviously getting heals up. So you can see here, I sprint straight over to my opponent, get some shells into my gun as I go towards them, and it allows me to get 2 shots off here to kill them. Alright, our next tip and trick is just going to be how you can use the hammers during fights to outplay your opponents in positioning. A lot of people think, okay, you can just go ahead and use hammers to get around the map quickly and of course break walls. There's a couple of other things you can do with hammers in a second, which I'll show you. The first one is whenever you're in a fight like this, let's say you're in a box fight, you're in an early game house fight like this, you can actually use the hammers to go straight up and catch your opponent off guard like I do here. So you can see a hammer, I don't move sideways, I just go straight up in the air just like that by not moving, and that means I can get behind my opponent and catch them off guard. Just quickly before we get some more tips and tricks involving the hammers, this is basically all of the chest spawns, these oathbound chests around the map, where you can go ahead and get guaranteed either one of the Excalibur rifles, which is obviously really good as well, I'll show some things like that later, or you get a hammer, which is obviously insanely good. If you want to try getting high kill wins in solo arena, showing good mobility, this is the spots to be landing. I land at this chest here and then go into Anvil Square, and I consistently get pretty high kill win games off spawn just from doing that. Alright, so our next tip is going to be just to go for hammer pre-edits. A lot of pros even don't know this just yet, but it is insanely broken to do. Basically, you can do it on any brick or wood enemy builds. So you need your teammates to have a hammer, and then you just whack on a pre-edit, whatever build type you want to do, and then he's going to go up to it and hammer the build just like that. Just left click hammer, and then you replace, and then you're both ready to shoot them, and you can catch people off guard. Very easy way to go for a refresh. I tried to get some clips of us doing this in arena, and also some pro clips. I think Queasy Bloomy were doing this a little bit. It is insanely good to do. Right, my next tip is a little bit of a weird one, but basically, whenever you're fighting with the Thunder shotgun, which is obviously the best shotgun this season, you shouldn't aim for headshots the majority of the time. Unless you're like sneaking behind someone, you can ADS get a headshot on them. I'd recommend always trying to lower your crosshair down from around headshot level into the neck level. So you can see there, just on his hitbox, it means I'm going to be hitting the upper chest as well, and the actual headshot hitbox goes from the neck as well. So previously in different metas, let's say with the Prime or the Striker, where it's a lot more target spread, you could aim for the head and you do max damage the majority of the time, but now if you consistently aim for the neck, as you can see, you can do consistent, really high damage. Of course, it's not the full damage for 195 headshot, however, it is much better and more consistent to aim for the neck, so upper chest area. You're going to get the headshot multiplier, and of course, because you're shooting 2 shots as well, you're actually going to go ahead and do the most damage as possible the majority of the time, unless of course you like point blank aiming. Most of your fights are going to take place sort of in this region here, so if you just aim for the upper chest like that, you can see I'm doing a high amount of damage compared to if I aim for the head. A lot of my pellets will be missing, and will do less damage. Alright, so you guys might know this, but my next tip is going to be whenever you approach someone's box, phasing is 10 times easier. You don't even need to crouch and look down anymore, which obviously is not the best for crosshair placement. You can just walk up someone's wall and place a stair into their box, or you can just walk up someone's wall and place a cone into their box without even crouching. It's just to move and look up. You can also do it on back walls very simply, just like that. You can basically fully piece someone up 100% of the time as you approach them, just like this. One thing I'd recommend doing is, since people are going to be more aware, it's going to be more common to do during fighting now, is always, whenever you're on the defensive, look for counterplay. Stand towards the front of your box, so if someone does place a stare on you just like this, you're going to be phasing it and you can get a shot off. And also, if you are doing this to someone else, let's say for example, you go ahead and place a stare through someone else, get ready to go for the exit on people, so whenever they move out, you can get a shot on them and piece them up. Don't just try to place something into their box and then keep pressuring the same box. Think about how they can escape the box as you do it. Just like that, and then you get a free shot. One thing that's really underrated with the shotgun is actually going ahead and doing wall replaces with it, just like that. So you can see, you can go ahead and wall replace from a pretty decent distance on opponents. And also one thing that you can do this season is actually go ahead and use slap juice to heal while moving around. So you can see, as I'm fighting this guy and trying to track where he is, I can actually move around and pop slap juices, which is very, very useful. Alright, our next step is actually going to be one thing that's really useful in Surge, which is using this Bush Warrior perk. If you're landing at a spot where you make a plan around this, it's going to be really effective. So you can see what happens is you get a Bush Warrior perk, as you can see in my first slot, and then you're going to go ahead and sit into a bush. And this basically always going to heal you up to 150 fairly quickly. So you get all your whites back, and you go up to 150. So if you want to trade Surge with somebody else far away, or if you know there's another team in the bush, you can just trade them pretty much infinitely, and you get your HP back really quickly as well, which is very nice. Alright, so one of the best things that you can do the Excalibur rifle is actually use it as an aggressive wall replace tool. One thing you need to make sure is you don't get too close to the actual projectile. So it's 125 base to wall. So if you shoot wood wall once, or if you shoot brick wall a few times and then get up to it, you're going to be able to instantly be able to replace it. If your opponent is close to the wall, it's going to hit them. Make sure you stay at least a half a tile away to be safe from it. And you can basically use it as an old eagle, go for a shot, and get damage onto an opponent and catch them off guard. A lot of people are going to expect for them to just hold it while you're actually waiting for the explosion, but you can take it instantly if the wall is low enough HP.
Who's it?
So smart. Oh my god, I'm so smart. Alright, right here we've got a couple more Excalibur tips, since this is probably a gun that's going to be in the placement cup. Use it the exact same way as a sniper. Make sure your first shot accuracy like that. And as you can see, make sure you went for when they're actually going ahead and landing off their jump. As you approach the box, pressure in the top, shoot the cones, don't shoot walls. And you can see here I get on the walls here. This guy's not too bad. And there's a really useful trick that you can do when it comes to fighting with this gun, which I'll show in a second here, is to keep on maintaining pressure. And you can actually go for chip shots. You can see I approach pretty badly, get some damage on this guy, end up hitting him 50 white with 50 white in the situation. So I pop a keg, and then while I'm popping this keg, it allows me to continuously pressure this guy from above. I keep spamming shots, and one thing you can do, I'll pause it here, is as the shot goes into his box in a second, it's going to go ahead and break his wall. Go for a timing shot when it falls into the box. Just pay attention for when it's doing that. So when you're actually fighting him, you can get those timing shots in with a pump. I probably could have killed him there, since as you can see, he's trying to hold his top and his wall's open because it's breaking both at the same time. But instead, he's forced to pressure and run out at me, and I'm actually getting the kill here on him as he comes forward. Alright, for tip 10 here, this is something if you're ever during the early game and you're landing at not the best spot, and if you're uncontested, even if you're contested is pretty good, it's just to try to re-roll and get the actual augment to get the extra chug splashes from chests. This basically means that every single time you open an ammo box, one of the red ammo boxes, one of the god ammo boxes, any single chest, any oathbound chest, even things like fishing rods, boxes or crates, whatever, you're going to have a high chance, like 50-50 chance of getting a chug splash. Make sure you actually open the chest and open the ammo box rather than just breaking it. It's one thing I've seen people doing wrong, is they just break it by placing a build or breaking a thing the build's on. Actually open it. As you can see here, you get an insane amount of chug splashes. So pretty much if you and your duo get this, you should have an extra 12 splashes every single game. As you can see here, I get a whole load of them. It's by far one of the most underrated perks this season.